Welcome everybody to our Zack Snyder's spoiler/discussion review. Right, we're gonna talk a little bit about it, and then we're gonna talk about the rest of the movie with spoilers and stuff. So if you want to skip, I guess, just a little bit ahead, we'll give our initial thoughts and like verdicts, and then we'll talk about spoilers and everything about it. It was a well, I am like at a loss for words at what a night.
Yeah, you're
night
so
and
excited.
day. This movie was night and day, right? In my opinion, right? Obviously, I'm not a critic, but hey, night and day for me. It was like, you know, Joss Whedon's cut of the movie was, lighthearted and like way less dark than this one, and obviously a lot of the scenes got to breathe. There was a lot more character development. I didn't take any notes, but I will tell you this: I did watch it twice. I watched it twice already. That's how much I liked it. And there's only a few movies I would pay to watch twice, right? Like I saw Endgame twice. I paid to see that one twice, and Infinity War. So it just, for me, I'm just that much of a fan. There was a lot of moments in the movie for me that stood out to me as like really exciting, especially the one scene where, without giving too much away, they right off the bat, it's like right where, they show up to Star Labs, right, and then they walk in, right, and then somebody sees them walk in, and it's the shot of them just walking. It gave me Dark Knight vibes, right? It felt like it was grounded in reality, like these people exist. All right, so what about you? What were your first impressions? How did you sit through it? Did you watch the whole thing at once, or did you take your time with it?
Yeah, like I told you before, like I don't have an issue with long movies. So I know, like for a lot of people, this was just like, oh, it's long. It's like 4 hours, and 2 minutes, including the credits. But I like long movies. I'm able to sit through like the Lord of the Rings, like the trilogy, just back to back with no problem. But I found myself a lot looking for like, not stopping it, but like just seeing where I was. I was like, where am I at? Like, how long is this going to go? I know, me too, because I'm like, I want to get into the movie, but it would just kind of like, some scenes, I was like, okay, I understand why that was cut out. It's just some of them seem so drawn out. Now, let me tell you, because I gave you my verdict yesterday.
Over text,
I told you what it was, and you told me what it was, right? And even I said, even when I gave it to you, oh, it's a little generous. And the reason why is because I'm looking at both of them. I'm comparing both of them. And you're right. Like the first one was lighthearted and like it wasn't that dark, DC. And DC is dark. So we need that, right? And even like the similarities, or not the similarities, but the differences between the color of just how they shot it, right? Even that was
the color correction.
Like I can see the difference, right? And I was like, okay, so they're going, because there is a lot of good things that I was like, okay, I see what should have, because 100% this should have been the movie that was released. Now, would I say cut it down a little bit so it can be, within a watchable movie at a theater? Yes, but
what would a 2.5 of this look like? That's a good question. With all that footage,
it would have been a lot. It would have been a lot of, because some of the scenes were just drawn. Okay, so how, and I'm sorry, but in this review, I'm gonna reference a lot of like Marvel stuff, right? So if you noticed, like Endgame, right? They cut out. There's a deleted scene where like Tony goes into like the soul world, right? Into the soul stone, right? So he's like, and he talks to his daughter, right? And that scene was deleted. The reason why the Russo brothers said that they deleted it was because they were like, well, we already had like the funeral. Then we had the speech, the 3,000 kind of his farewell to his daughter. And then obviously they even deleted some of the battle at the end where like everybody was supposed to kneel down and stuff like that. Yeah. Just because like even with Spider-Man, with him talking to Peter or Peter talking to him, it was kind of like, it was so sad, but they hit it home so many times that they were like, why do we have to keep doing it? That's why they cut out some of these scenes. What Justice League with this cut is that they kept going to the same well of like, Superman's gone, Superman's dead. It was just so repetitive that it's like, we get it. We were there. He died. We understand. Like, move on. We need the movie to keep. So if I were to delete scenes, it would be more of the scenes that's like, God, I miss him, or he's the key. Like, we understand that. Like, let's move on. You spent 30 minutes driving that fucking point home, and it's like, we understand. We get it. Especially people that already seen the movie. It's like, no, we understand what's going to happen. Just continue.
Yeah, he definitely... Superman was not a lot. He was not in this movie a lot. If you're thinking that like there's more of him, it was like he's more towards the end of it, like towards like 5 and 6. I remember when we talked about it, I kept getting confused. I'm like, how many parts are there? Is it like 4? Is it 6? And then it turned into this like kind of theatrical cut of a movie. Now, comparing it to Infinity War and Endgame, and we kind of have to, because it was kind of like this movie was made, then remade, and then now it was again put back together by Zack Snyder. Yeah. Now, if we know that Infinity War and Endgame were shot back to back. Now, we know at the time, times were different. This was before the pandemic. You couldn't go out. So maybe that kind of had a hand in it. Like, because how do you sit through a 4-hour movie? And it doesn't work in a cinema, right? Because theaters...
Oh, no. Yeah, people can't.
You don't sit through a 4-hour movie in a theater. But you can do it at home, right? Perfectly, right? Did you get any snacks or anything? Like, did you prepare? Did you do anything like that?
I did eat... I ate breakfast, actually, while I was watching it. So, like, I ordered something to eat, and it came while, like 30 minutes in. So I kind of didn't stop. And the reason why I didn't even stop, because usually I'll stop a movie and be like, let me get situated. But it was during the time, again, when they were just like Lois Lane, mourning over Superman being gone. And it's like, yeah, I get it. Like, that's why I didn't even stop the movie. I just let it play in the background while I was like getting my stuff from the kitchen. I was just like,
I know that.
I got it. But yeah, no, people definitely wouldn't. I mean, you're drinking, you're eating. Yeah. That's why a 2-hour movie is kind of like perfect for a movie theater. However, a 4-hour movie, no, I cannot see people sitting in their seat for that long. It still
has to be good enough, entertaining. Like, the story beats have to keep it going. And I think for me, from the beginning, I was like, again, my expectations were real low, because like I'm already like, okay, Zack Snyder's done previous movies, and some of them are like, Watchmen. I like that movie a lot, actually. So I'm like, okay, if there's any kind of action, I know that Zack Snyder brings the action. And man, did he bring it with Wonder Woman. That bank scene, there was a couple of things. Yeah. It was really it was still similar to Joss's, but there was a couple of extra scenes that made it into the cut when she's like deflecting the bullets. She's just doing the whole Neo Matrix thing. That was for me, that like, I was like, okay, I want more.
Yeah, the fight scenes they were really good.
Don't give too much away, so we can give our final verdicts and then move into a spoiler discussion where we can just talk about wherever.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say about the fight scenes is that they were so good that, and, for, I think just for Justice League in general, for this movie, it was really good to the point where I was like, did I watch that in the first one? Because it looks... badass. Way better. It looks way better than what they originally, obviously, Justice League 2017. But yeah, it was, I will agree that when it comes to the fight scenes, they did very well.
Zack definitely knows how to do action. And that was like one of the biggest criticisms they had for Wonder Woman 84 was that we got a Wonder Woman in this movie where she's raw, she's badass, like she gets dirty. The other one, it's more like, it was an homage to the more classic ones, but if Zack had been involved, I'm sure we would have gotten a much greater fight scene and even more of a ramped up kind of comic book level of action, right? Because this one had that comic book level of action, right? Some of the scenes looked like they were coming off of a comic book page, right? There was a scene in particular towards the end during the big finale where they basically do the hero pose, right? The Avengers thing. right? There was a quick.
Yeah.
And that image leaked, so it's not much of a spoiler, because it was already like out there. But look, we can move into our final verdicts. You want to explain again your verdict?
Well, I kind of want to go through the good and then the bad.
Okay.
Right? Because I'm gonna lead with some good stuff, or should I?
Bad.
Should I hit with the bad stuff? Yeah.
Like,
let me end on a good note. So let me give you the bad. All right. The reason why I said I was gonna reference Infinity Wars and Endgame is because Infinity Wars kind of, and really all the Avengers, but that one's the one I'm gonna really kind of drive it home with, is that Thanos fought 3 different times in that movie. If you really think about it, it was 3 different battles. It was the first one with
where they lost?
Thor, Loki, Hulk, and then all the Asgardians, right? And we didn't see that, and I'm not saying like fought, like actually got down, even though he did get down with the Hulk, but they lost, right? Yeah. Those 3 lost. The strongest Avengers. Then he moves on. Yeah, correct. The strongest Avenger, and both of them actually. Yeah. The time, and then we're talking. He goes and kind of dispatches of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but the fight scene on Titan with Doctor Strange, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and because I can hear I can't hear you. Did I lose you? Did I lose you? I can hear. I don't know what you did, but I can hear myself. No, I didn't touch anything. No, I lost your sound. It says you are muted. Yeah, Can you hear me? It says you're. I can hear you. That's strange. Oh, I know why. All right, was it because of this? Oh, you paused this? Why is this paused? Oh. Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. Speak again? Speak up again? I said I don't know what happened with the audio. Let's just use Zoom. It says. I know it's tough because this thing. Right. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I literally didn't touch anything. You were doing something with your mic, and then that's when it started. I don't know what you did. If you touched your mic while I was talking. No, the FaceTime audio just like dropped, like it disconnected. All right. No, here, call me back. Yeah, I'll call you back. Let me see. Hello? Yeah. Can you hear me? Now. Perfect. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Good thing we kind of like started it at the where you were about to explain your good and bad. Yeah, at the beginning. Yeah. So let me pick it up. Like a sound clap or something, so you know where the spike is, kind of to line it up easier. Oh, I guess. Yeah. But I just won't know where it began. No, it's fine. When I put it together, I'll okay. So just say just pick up from the good and the bad thing, or the bad thing. Yeah. Okay, so I'll start with the bad again. Okay, so Infinity Wars had 3 different fights, if you think about it, right? You had the original, or like the first scene, really, which is he's kind of destroyed all the Asgardians, and we see half of them, and then so essentially you can assume that he beat Thor, Loki, and the Hulk. Avengers, correct. So that's one battle that they lose. Then we move on to Titan with Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, and like another big battle. Most of Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That's another battle. And then at the end, where he's in Wakanda, he transports there. Then it's like Bruce Banner, not the Hulk, because he's in that. He can't transform, right? He can't morph. Not a Power Ranger. And then you have like Captain America, Black Panther, and even Wanda, right, and Vision. So he beats all of them, right? And that's because they're divided. That's the whole point of the Avengers, is that you believe in the group because we see them lose individually. And then Endgame brings them all together, then they win, right? That's what makes that team, like, I can get behind it because I know that, okay, one without the other is no bueno for the, going against the boss. And you don't go into a strike with just one person. You got to have the fire team, right? That's what I don't believe about the Justice League. They don't do that. They don't make me believe that each one of them has failed and they need each other. There is no conflict like that. Like the closest that they got by doing that was showing that each one of them lost like the mother box. But really, it was like, with the Amazons, Wonder Woman wasn't involved with that.
That's true. She was not even born, I think, at the time yet.
No. I'm talking about when they came and grabbed it. Steppenwolf came and grabbed it.
On her home.
She wasn't there, right? And like each one of those, it's not like they each individually lost and then they had to get together, band together, and beat them. Go out and beat them. That's not something that I believed in. And also, what the first Justice League movie did, and what really disappointed me was that at the end, Superman came and they won. Yeah. So to me, that's like, okay, he's a one-man team. I don't need the Justice League then. That whole them standing kind of triumphant at the end with all, it's like, yeah, but he did most of the work. There's a lot so I don't believe that you're a team.
I think what worked. Okay, so sorry, did you finish your thoughts on the bad stuff and then the good stuff?
So that's, to me, that was like really like, I'm just like, that's what the core of this, why I can't get behind this movie, is because I don't believe that they're a team. I just don't, they're not. And this really disappointed. I came in with low expectations. I told you, I told you even before it came out, I was like, man, I don't even know if I want to watch it just because my expectations are already low as it is, right? And when we watched the trailer, you know what I was actually excited about?
What is it?
At the end, when we saw the Joker.
Oh.
You have no idea how excited. That's the only thing I was looking forward to. That timeline where they lost, that's what I wanted to see a little bit played out, a little bit more. I wanted to dive a little bit more into that, even though I knew what timeline they were going to obviously use, right? But you like to, like, give me some of that. That scene to me was horrible. I did not like that whatsoever. It also, in my mind, solidified that Jared Leto should not be playing the Joker. It may be a very unpopular opinion, but everything from his laugh to his mannerisms, the way he delivered the lines. I don't know if it was the writing or the direction but I'm like, I don't believe he's the Joker. Thank God Phoenix came and actually did a Joker movie, because now I still, I can still hold something dear that the Joker has been done right in the last couple of years. But I was like, that scene to me, I was excited when it started. As soon as you saw it, I was like, okay. I was like, this is what I've been wanting to see. And then I really wanted to hear his monologue. And
we live in a society.
To me, it just did not at all hit.
Yeah. Well, I can't continue. Anything else bad you didn't like regarding the movie?
I didn't like the music. Ooh. I just watched the video not so long ago. Actually today, just a couple hours ago, I watched a movie that they were also kind of reviewing it, and I was just like, one of the things that they, not reviewing it, the things that they were like, oh, the things that this movie got right, and one of them was the music, and I was like, they are delusional. The music was horrible. Other than the last couple scores, I was like, okay, I can see that. But in the beginning, I was like, whose man's is this? Who let somebody put this music? It was just not right, in my opinion. I don't know about music like that either, so I may be wrong. But music in a movie, those scores are supposed to make you feel something. The only thing they made me feel was like, let's get the scene over with. I didn't even want to sit through some of this stuff. But towards the end, it was right.
Yeah.
That's the bad stuff. I don't know if you want me to go with the good stuff
before
you give your stuff.
Give your thoughts on the good. And you really liked it.
I'm gonna start with the number one because it's the strongest thing for me. It was that they introduced Darkseid correctly.
Yeah, I would agree.
To me, that was the most important. Other than whatever happened, everything else, that was the most important thing because the franchise needs something else to continue. And that's what the problem was with the first movie. They didn't explain why he was there. What was the bigger plan? That's what Marvel has gotten correct, is that every movie leads into something else. And the first Justice League led to absolutely nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
It was just
one and done.
It was just trying to be a good feel movie. Yeah, it was one of those one hit. And this didn't. This was like, there's possibilities. The fact that they were like, Darkseid isn't done. I was like, there we go. Darkseid is a fucking absolute monster of a villain. Why would you guys neglect him when like Snyder had it correct? He was doing the right thing.
Yeah. You know what they did? The best part about Darkseid, in my opinion, was his voice. When he would talk, I was just like, don't stop talking. Can you talk me to sleep, bro? Honestly, I love the way he would, like, the way his voice would, like, kind of fall into, like, this depth, and he'd just be like, like that. It was just really nice. I really liked it.
Not inaccurate.
Like, when he's telling Steppenwolf, he's like, that he's gonna come collect his prize, and the way the camera zooms in on him, it's in the trailer, right? And he's like, "It shall be mine." He does a real, it's real nice. Yeah, I loved it.
Very good. The other thing that you mentioned that was good was the character development. Mm-hmm. Finally, you're telling me who the fuck these people are. Like the first movie, barely. You're introducing characters that nobody else knows yet, other than the people that know
Batman, Superman,
like comic book superheroes. Like, if you're into the comics, you know who these people are. But for the people that are just watching the movies, we don't know who these people are. You gotta introduce them correctly, and that's the one thing that they neglected to do in the first Justice League. But this one, they got it right. They were more like Cyborg. Finally, we understand what's going on with him, and he actually was a very good part of the movie. I actually really enjoyed what they did with his character development.
Because they did him dirty.
Even
dirty in the first movie.
Yeah. Oh, in the first movie they didn't. It's like, okay.
Nothing.
No, nothing at all. And even Darkseid and Steppenwolf, they did both of them correctly, because now we understand the villain's point of view. And that's the whole thing, is that you got to make these guys relatable for me to stay around and watch the movie. If I don't care what they're like, Thanos, that's why he was such a great villain overall, because we got to understand his mindset and what he was trying to do. Not that I agree with his method, but I understand what he was trying to do. And this cut really got us in depth into that, and I was like, okay, well, now I'm invested here. One of the bad things that I forgot to mention that has to do with character development, unfortunately, is that someone else that I think should not be in the movie, or two more people that shouldn't be in the movie. One, the Facebook guy who's playing Lex Luthor.
Jesse Eisenberg.
Not Mark
Zuckerberg.
But the guy playing him.
Yeah, Jesse Eisenberg. Is that his name?
He should not be playing Lex Luthor. He shouldn't. That's just my opinion. Maybe it's wrong. We'll see if they give him a little more screen time, but I don't think he should be playing, even though his part in this movie is setting up, I think, a Batman movie. Yeah. With Deathstroke. I think that's very good. I really enjoyed that. I was like, now we're leading into something. Now I'll stick around to see what the franchise has to deliver. And the other person that I just can't stand, and I don't know if it's, I want to say maybe it's just not the director, but the writers, is the guy playing fucking Barry Allen, Ezra the Flash.
Miller. Yeah, he's got his own. He's got shortcomings of his own. His running in the movie is CGI. He doesn't know how to run.
Oh my god.
He doesn't know how to run.
Yeah, that's a word. Like,
he's not a runner.
for somebody that runs, it's like it's so annoying to see that somebody throws their hand like this when they run, and I'm just
like get farther. You know, you're throwing yourself. You know,
no, you propel this way. So that's one other thing I had an issue with. But I'm like, all right, maybe there's a method to the madness. But the problem is that they use him as a comedic relief entirely. It's like he's the only person that they focus. He needs to be quirky and funny. And they're trying too fucking hard. It should come out naturally.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean. It sounds like Ezra tries a little too hard to be funny.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said it. You said Jason is funny, but his funny, comes out naturally. Like when he says something, it's just like, I was like, okay, that's good. Yeah. But
Ezra's not a bro.
With him, I feel, with the Flash's character, I think they're just trying way too hard. And it's like, you don't have to be... For example, Spider-Man. Spider-Man is funny. That's like, even in the comic books, he's always like throwing these little, you know, he has his wits about him. He has these little phrases and stuff like that. But he can also be serious, and he can also be like, there's depth to him. And with this guy, it's almost like there's no depth whatsoever. I got the story with his father and stuff. I got it, what they were trying to do. But even then, it's like, I can't take that seriously because they're trying so hard to make him funny and make him like an average Joe. And it's like, just make him a superhero and make him natural. And you will get, I keep forgetting the actor's name because I've seen him in other things and I actually enjoy him as an actor. I was like, he is funny. You just have to let it come out naturally. Stop writing so much. Like every line that he said was meant to be like a little phrase. And it's like, stop. You can't keep writing shit like that. I think
it's funny you put it like that. It's kind of supposed to be like a catchphrase. Well, he's very young. Like he's got like this very childlike tendencies. And when you walk into we're still talking about Barry Allen, right, Ezra? Right. When he is, he walks into his lair, you know, you see all these things, you know, I just assume like he watches a lot of, you know, cartoons, Rick and Morty. Like there was a lot of references to Rick and Morty in some of the scenes in there, like in some of the background monitors. So yeah, there is like that tendency for him to like maybe hear something and then, you know, say it again later. But I know what you mean. Sometimes it felt like the jokes didn't land, right? Or it wasn't, or it was very dry humor. Like I think one of my favorite jokes was that, you know, he has a crush on Wonder Woman, right? And he tells Cyborg, he's like, you think she's into to younger dudes? And Cyborg's all like, she's 5,000 years old, dude. Every dude's a younger dude. And I thought that was really funny.
You see, but even like that phrase, that it comes out okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? But I think, I don't know, maybe it was his delivery. Maybe I really do have an issue with him being in the movie. I really have nothing against the actor. The actor himself. I can, you know, again, it's not like I'm going after him personally. It's just the way that character came out on screen. I was just like, it hurt me so much to see it. It just made me cringe and just be like, get him off screen. Just I can't do it anymore.
Was there?
But other than that,
anything else? Anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You liked?
I mean, the ending 100% better. Oh, the fact that Superman wore his fucking black suit. Thank you. That is what he was supposed to wear. Why are we acting like it wasn't supposed to be that? So absolutely. And the fact that what I liked, I have made it known to many people, and I think even on our channel, that I don't like Superman. As a superhero, I think he just sucks. I think that there was no creativity whatsoever with that character.
You can't write anything around him.
No. Yeah. However, the fact that he was beating the shit out of Steppenwolf, and the thing is that you saw something dark in it. When he just kept hitting him, you were like, okay, so we're stopped being that good guy, that he has morals and stuff. There is something dark in him. I like that they included that in there. And just obviously the way he died, Steppenwolf was very good. That's the way that it should have been.
I don't want to say that.
Very good.
So what is your final verdict? To make it loud and clear for everybody.
So if this is the first time I would watch this movie, I'd give it a 6, a flat 6, like 6.0. Okay. Like you're almost going into the 5 lane, but I'm gonna give you a 6. But because I've watched the first one and I'm comparing the two, that's the reason why I gave it a 7. Because I was like, yeah, it's way better than the first one, but it just doesn't. I think I read a headline that was that said Snyder's cut longer, but movie still sucks. And I agree with that 100%. Like, yes, it is longer, but it's still bad.
Yeah, and I don't think that's Zack's fault either. I think that's a lot of the studio's fault because they didn't get a big chance to develop any of the characters. We got none of them for like any good amount of time. Unlike obviously their competitor, which, you know, since 2008 they've been building this incredible saga, and look at where we are now. So you're gonna give it a 7 out of 10? Okay, great,
7. I'm gonna stay with a 7.
So I'm gonna go ahead and just shoot off some of the. I did disagree with a couple of things. I'll start with the bad, since we'll start like that. For me, I think the one thing I didn't like was that the nightmare scene and the Martian Manhunter and the Green Lantern stuff. Right. The Martian Manhunter thing isn't much of a spoiler because there was also footage of it out there in the trailers. You can't really see him, but he's in the footage. And then because there was just not enough of what I thought that was going to be. And then bad. There was not a lot of bad, I'll be honest, because I can't really think of anything I didn't like. Maybe Ezra Miller's part, again, was as Barry Allen could have been different. The Iris West scene where he saves her from the car crash seemed a bit over-exaggerated. I thought it was weird. He's grabbing like the hot dog. It was just weird. Okay, maybe that was a couple of things I didn't like. So I'm just going to move over to the good stuff that I really liked because I have way more good stuff that I liked about it. Some of the music, some of the tracks, maybe one or two, there was some scenes where I was like, oh, I don't really like this track. Like I'm trying to enjoy it, but I don't see it. All I could keep thinking about was like, this would be the perfect opportunity to make like a scary movie parody. You know what I mean? Do you remember those movies when they would parody all these big AAA budget movies, like Scary Movie 1, 2, and 3?
Oh, so like yeah.
Where Arthur Curry is walking into the water, and then these women start to sing, right? And then Bruce is just like,
that was
okay. I just imagine there being this funny scene where they just start twerking or something, like some hip hop music starts playing, and he just looks over. He's like, "What the fuck are they doing?" And they're just like they're busting it down and shit. Something really funny.
It was odd in general because then the chick smells his sweater.
They believe. I'm sure these people that live at the edge of this cliff or whatever, they're so disconnected from the world that they don't understand that there are actual beings and other aliens that exist in their realm, so they worship it like some kind of sex god, you know, because she smelled it like with the intent to sleep with it that night.
Yeah, but that was just such a weird
you would do
I
that.
Get when she held it. No, I wouldn't. That's
and you put it on, you'd be like,
I wouldn't smell it whatsoever.
You want to know if you washed it or not.
That's weird. Like that's it is odd. It's a little odd. Yeah. People are classified as perverts when they do that. Okay. Are you kidding me? Like that is so weird that they left that in there.
My favorite superhero has to be Wonder Woman. After seeing that bank scene and the way she took on Stepin with just by herself, that scene where they're in their base on Rikers Island and she's just getting down with him while Batman does to do something else. I'm like, there you go, girl. Like that shit was so bad. She's like flicking him off, like, you know, just it was insane. That was great. Action scenes were great. Ray Fisher, the parts where, you know, he helps that family and then all that other stuff, that was great. I'm gonna give it an 8. My initial impression was a 9.
Okay. I know. I was like, that's really.
I wanted to give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm like, okay, I'm being too much of a fan here because I wanted to be critical of the movie because I'm like, look, it's a 4-hour movie. You don't normally sit through a 4-hour movie, and this only works if you're watching it on streaming services. So that's why I thought, you know, okay, I gotta be a little bit more conservative about it because there's a lot of things that played into why it worked so well and why it was like, you know, the topic of conversation over the past couple of years. So yeah, so an 8 out of solid 10 for me. I want to. I guess we can move on to just talking about spoilers, like all the major things that we may have missed of the movie. Like, what was one of the biggest spoilers in the movie? There was no Green Lantern like that we thought there was during the battle.
There was no. I mean, yeah, during the battle, but there was nothing.
Like, what was a big spoiler?
I mean, other than
here we go. So one of the bigger ones was that the Barry Allen, right, the Flash, he can travel. He figured out how to travel through time, how to reverse time actually, right? He knows how to. So we got this twice, right? When they're going to revive Superman, the mother box falls and it actually hits the water, but as Barry's coming in, approaching the speed of light, as he kind of explains it, he says that weird stuff happens, but it isn't explained until later when I guess the biggest spoiler is that they do lose. The Justice League loses for like a split second, like the mother boxes unify and they synchronize, and then everything and then it just boom.
Oh they lost.
That was the biggest spoiler. They did lose technically, and then they busted Doctor Strange. Fucking let me just turn back the clock. The Flash is just. His face acting was kind of good when he's trying to maintain the speed of light, right? When he's running around, trying to generate that energy so that Cyborg can enter the mother box kind of consciousness. That was a good one where they personified the 3 mother boxes as the 3 witches of fate, right?
So I like that they expanded on certain things, and that was one of them.
Yes, that was great.
The fact that once it's synchronized, he's able to go inside, and then we see what Cyborg sees, which is like the 3 the 3 essential witches.
The Fates, I think they call them.
Yeah.
The Sisters of Fate, I think. And then one of the other bigger ones was that because Cyborg was not in the first one at all, like basically, this is kind of like an origin story for him. We get everything. In the other movie, his father doesn't die. His father doesn't die. In this one, he does die. And I think that was one of the more emotional moments for me where he's upset with his father for bringing him back. But his father is a scientist, so his mind works like, well, let me just do the most logical thing, right? It's not that he's not emotionless. He's just trying to do the most logical thing. And then I thought to myself, okay, well, how is this dynamic going to work throughout the rest of the movie? And you see like as his father trying to, like, he essentially helps the Justice League, right? When they come to...
Yeah, when he sacrifices essentially himself so that they can find the mother boxes, which is... And then you start to see real emotion from Cyborg about that. Like, I think they did, you're absolutely correct. They did him right in this movie. And it made him incredibly more relatable. Also, it made sense why he's so important.
I just kind of thinking back, like, I think that's why I really enjoyed the movie so much, because he became one of my favorite other people. She was like, he is the Terminator, but with the internet connected to him.
Because they finally go into like his father kind of explaining, in that tape recorder, like, you can do everything, and then him kind of figuring it out what he can do, and stuff like that, and telling like, that shit was correct. Great. And I'm like, that's what we were missing. That's how are you gonna introduce this character and not tell us what he can do?
One of the coolest scenes was where we go into Cyborg's mind and he visualizes everything like in a physical way, and he I actually really enjoyed that. So cool, because in some ways we will eventually get there. It's just however long it takes, we'll be able to visualize thoughts in a physical form. And he's walking around in this area where he goes into this, like, what is visualized as a bank, right? And you can see all these stacks of dollars and currency. And he walks across the family, this single mother who he does help. And I thought it was funny because he's like, he's growing the stack, and it's only $100,000. I would have risen the stack and then multiplied it, a couple times. But he gives her like $100,000, says that she won some kind of banking award. I thought that was really cool, like all of that, visualizing what he can do on a level of which is like he just needs to think about it. He doesn't even have to like move a finger, right? That is really, really cool. Do you have any final thoughts on this movie, like in regards, like would you watch it again?
No. And I thought about this very, very long about this, whether I would watch it again. And just like, no, there's no, even remember, like we talked about before we watched the movie, you mentioned I'm going to go back and watch the first one just so that I can kind of like compare them a bit better. And I told you, I can't. That's how much I hated what they did with this. That even this one, I'm just like, I don't see myself sitting through 4 hours of something that I'm just like, I don't. If I would go back, maybe watch certain parts, but not really.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something that I would be like, yeah, put it, cue it up. Not like Infinity Wars that I've seen like 1,000 times from beginning to end. Like,
there's no character. You don't have to go waste time character developing. We're going straight to the plot.
It goes straight into it. Yeah.
Moving like from it. I actually love Infinity War way more than I do Endgame, just because it's the one where they lose, and losing is something people never do. Right? Like you would think that's Game of Thrones levels of.
Well, that's what also was good about the good thing that they did about this movie is that for a split second they did lose.
That was so cool.
Which meant, and that they showed you another reality where they did lose. That's the whole, like, that's why, again, I don't like Superman, because it's very hard to come up with storylines where he's really facing adversary, and it's like he's really not, because he's so strong that it's so hard for me to relate to him. And the fact that in this movie they showed that they actually lost was like, good. We have to get behind a team that we know can lose.
Yes.
Because if they're always going to win, it's like, I'm not going to, even though at the end, yes, you do know that they're going to win, but you want to see the struggle.
Yeah.
That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
But I would say if you've never watched Justice League 2017, skip that one entirely. Watch this one.
In my opinion,
yeah,
it doesn't exist.
Because it will change your. I think I'm already tainted by that other one. But I still stand by the fact that this one should have been the one that was released. The other one should have never really came out. Like it was. I think it was just done poorly. This one is not like, a million times better, but it is 100% better.
Yes, I do agree.
Yeah, 100 times, I think. Not 100%. But this should have been the movie that was released. It would have been way better.
Yes, it would have been. I think like that's the only thing I was afraid of. Like we get a theatrical cut, like to see what this 4-hour movie looks like, shaved down to 2.5. You know what I mean? That's more.
Again, Lois Lane can fucking just leave. They could have cut those out because
everything's out up until where we see the pregnancy test and her go visit his grave one last time. I mean, his monument one last time. And then she still happens to be in the area. But yeah, there was some spot. Obviously, the editing for the movie looked. Yeah.
The issue is that they also in this movie they kept referring to her as being like the key and stuff like that. But we got none of that. The only part that we got that she was the key was that he recognized her and then kind of brought him back
Wonder Woman
to like his senses. But that was it.
Wonder Woman. She's talking to Bruce. No, Bruce is like staring off into space, and Bruce is telling Wonder Woman like, "Oh yeah, I had this dream." Because in Batman v Superman, he has that thing where Barry comes through. And is like, hey, Lewis is the key. And he's explaining to her, like, oh, yeah, like, I saw something, a premonition or whatever. And he said Lewis was the key. And then she's all like, every heart has a key. And I laughed. It was so funny. She's like, yeah, every heart has a key.
Yeah, I was like, cute gal. Yeah, that sounds like a commercial for like a jewelry store. Every kiss begins with K. Every fucking heart has a key. I was just funny. Like, okay.
Like, damn, she plays Wonder Woman so well, like in her action scenes. Just, I'm jelly. But yeah, so we are going to be jumping right into our other review. So once we're done with this, guys, please go check out our Falcon and the Winter Soldier because it just released. Very excited for that. I already gave my final verdict, right? Is there anything else you wanted to say?
Yeah. No, we're good
awesome
with this.
then, guys. Please go ahead and check us out. RDG online, all other audio platforms. Follow me on Twitter, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace. Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.